Greetings everyone, it's Mr. Zombie and it's gonna be my first video in English, probably the last one I'm gonna do. If I do this video today, it's because I've been asked for, and it's in order to present you the project Guardians Chronicles, which is a board game quick starter that I'm actually backing because I do believe in this project. So I decided to present it in a more visual way with a printed version of tiles, cards and etc. that I could find on the net. I will, during the video, show you what the box will contain, and also how the game works with mechanics and etc. In order to begin, I will first of all show you the different things we are gonna get in the box. Obviously I'm not using the real material. I have to take other items from other board games that I own. Let's do it. First of all, of course, you will get miniatures for heroes and villains. I'm gonna use those kinds of miniatures, but in the game you will have zombicide size miniatures. Mine are a little smaller, so of course a lot of miniature, and the more money the project will get, and of course the more miniatures we will get too. The ultimate objective is 100K dollars in order to get the Night Squad, which is a super kick-ass team, and I really hope we will get it, but I'm not really worried. We still get about 12 days in order to get to that objective, and we will do it, I'm sure of it. So minis, depending on the number of heroes and villains we will get. You will have three kinds of dices. The standard dices, which are the the combat dices, excuse me. There are 6 faces dices, 2 faces with 0, so it's a handmade one. The one you will get will be much better, of course. 2 faces with a 0 on it, 3 faces with a 1 on it, and 1 faces with a 2 on it. So you will have 4 of those dices, those combat dices, and that's the one you will have to use when you try an attack against an opponent. The second type of dice is the bonus dices, which are gonna be the heroes and villains dices, with a design which fit with the side you choose, heroes or bad or villain, Skarov team. It's also 6 faces dices, but the faces on it are a little different. Let me check. So you will have only one 0 face, 3 faces with a 1 on it, 1 face with a 2, and the final face, it's a special one, it's paw on it. That means when you roll it, you add 1 to the score you made with your dice, and you re-roll it right away. So if you do a paw again, you add another extra 1 to your score and re-roll it again, and etc, etc, since you are getting the paw phase. So with those bonus dices you can make a lot of damage very quickly, so never hesitate to use bonus dices when you can. Finally, the last kind of dices, which there also will be 4 in the box, it's the test dices. There are 8 faces dices. On it there's 2 0 faces faces, sorry, 4 with a 1, and 2 faces with a 2 on it. Those dices will be used in order to when you have to roll throw a test roll of dice. That's those ones that you will use. For example, in order to open doors or try to achieve an objective or disable traps and etc. But I will explain it later. This is first a quick view of all the content. You will also have initiative card on the hero side and on the bad side. I haven't found design for those, but of course in the box you will have nice pictures representing the different characters you get in the box. Me, I only wrote it, the name of the character, so there's Kinoi Shiki, Kinoi Shinoi, Ginoids, etc. And I've done the same with the 4 main heroes, so Adam Spell, Golden Boy, Supernova, and Sergeant Freedom. Those cards are useful because in the beginning of every turn you will have to decide which hero will play first, so you put the card on the top of the pile, and etc., and it will determine. So in that example, Adam Spell will play first, Golden Boy second, Supernova third, and Sergeant Freedom fourth. That's it. It's the same for Skarov side, and you will have to choose as many minions is gonna play as the number of heroes in the start of the game. For example, here I take 4 heroes, the 4 main character. So Skarov on his turn will have to choose 4 of his minions to activate during his turn, and every turn he will change them if he wants to, but I will explain that later more in detail. You will also have that kind of card in it, which are the newspaper articles, and that's what will decide which side will win the game, because everything you will be doing in the game will have consequences, and so the articles in the newspaper, because Guardians Chronicles, it's the name of the newspaper, will be in favor of the good side or the evil side. For example, on that card, as you can see, there's a nuclear apocalypse. It's not the final design, and they will be much better, but it's what I found for the moment. So there's a nuclear apocalypse, and of course it's not a good thing for heroes. If a city has been blown up by nuclear missiles, it won't help them to win the the game, sorry. What do you also get? You get the ID card for heroes and also for the bad guys. It's quietly the same characteristics on it. I will describe them briefly. This one, it's the speed, which is the max number of area a character can go using one moving action. The second stat is attack. It's the number of dice you roll when you try to fight an opponent. So here, for example, Adam Spell will throw 2 standard dices, 2 attack dices. Third stat, it's defense. Here Adam Spell got a 3. That means when he if the opponent attack him, he roll his dices, his attack dices, and all the bonuses if he had some. If he made 3 or more, Adam Spell is gonna take a damage token. I will use those one in the game. A damage token will be put on his ID card like that. Next stat, it's the mental one. He got a 4. This statistic will be useful when he will do a test roll. That is to say that he will have to launch to throw a certain number of dice depending on the objective he's trying to do. For example, opening doors, he will have to throw 3 dice like that, and in a more bigger objective like disabling the nuclear missiles, he will have to launch 4 of those dice, and the result of his throw will have to be inferior than 4. If it's superior, he missed, and he have to try again and use another action for do that. But I will explain it more in detail later too. Other characteristic here, it's the health of the character. Adam's spell is 3. That means I've just explained you briefly that he could take a damage token like that. He got 1. When after being hit 3 times by his enemies, he will have 3 damage token on him. So we instantly remove them, and instead he will have to take a wound card. I don't show you the design because it's copyright material, so we don't want to have trouble. So it take a wound card which will be added to the power card. I will explain just after what it is. To the power card he got in his hand. The wound card, trust me, it's something you don't want at all in your game because it's very handicapping, and but I will come back on that later. So if there's he gets 3 on his health stat, that means if during the game at a moment he got 3 wound card in his hand in the same time, Adam's spell is dead and removed from the game. So he's not playing anymore. Last characteristic on the ID card is here. It's the permanent power of the character you're playing. So it will confer them a bonus. For example, Sergeant Freedom, when he throws an attack, he will always have 1 bonus dice permanently. So it's cool for him. Less for his opponents, and that's it for a quick glance at the stats on the ID card. Only difference, on the villain card there's no mental stat, but here there's a little triangle. In fact, it shows how many different actions an evil guy could do. So for example, Skarov can do 3 actions, but Skarov is it's an exception. I will explain him and what he can do later. So I've said we also have power cards. Every hero get a specific and unique set of power cards. It depends on the hero. It can go from 8 to about a dozen of cards, so it goes very quickly to use all of them. So when you start with your hero, you get all your power cards in your hand, and you use it. You're forced to use at least 1 card in your turn, and max 2 cards. I will explain that later too. And once you have played all your cards up, every time they are discarded, you take all them back, and that's here that the wound card come back again. And when you've got as many wound card as your health, you die. So that's at this moment. I will take Adam's spell as an example. So the power card you got, you can use them 2 ways. I'm searching the exact name on in order to not confuse you. You can use it 2 ways. So there's the secret technique bonuses, It's on the side of the power card you're using. You can see bonus or malus. For example, here Adam Spell will get less 1 point speed. His attack won't move, but he will get bonus +1 in defense and +2 in mental, which is interesting if you want, for example, to open a door or make an objective. So that's when you use the secret technique power of your card, and you will place it on the for you it's on the right of your ID card, so you can see the stats are adding. If you use your power card for the for the special power, so that's the little text area down there, you have to put it on the left of your ID card, right here. So if it's here, it means you use the special power, and if it's there, you use the secret technique bonuses and you add it. So every turn you can play up to 2 cards, one on this side and the other on this side, or just one if you want. Every time it's your turn to you to choose. Knowing the fact it's best to chat with your hero friends and try to balance the things you're gonna do, because some power will be useful for the rest of the team. So if you're playing in last order, of course your bonuses won't help them because they will have played before. So it's better you play first if you get a bonus for the team, and then all the team, when they will play, will get that bonus and can use it during the turn. It's part of the cooperative thing in the game. Other thing it's that on every power cards deck there's also a weakness card, and that it's a cheat because there's only a text area, so you're forced to use it this way. And the weakness will give a malus to your character or all the team. So your partners are gonna have to do with their action card to balance the maluses you're gonna give them. For example, the weakness of Sergeant Freedom is that all the heroes are gonna lose an action for this turn. So instead of being able to do 3 actions, they will only be able to do 2 actions. So it would be better to play it in a moment when the heroes are already doing something like fighting, or I don't know, which don't need a lot of actions in order to balance it. If the 4 heroes that are playing play all their weakness cards together, it will be really bad for the team. So we always have to chat with each other in order to do the right thing and kick Skarov's ass, knowing that Skarov, because it's his lair, so he's aware of everything, so he can hear and see what you are doing. So the heroes will have to be clever and try to induce him in error, by example using code, or I don't know. It's up to you to find how to trick Skarov evil's plans. And I think that's it for the power card. I've no, just a little something about it. Like I've said, you can't draw back your power cards unless you have used them all. So that means that there's a moment, it's forced that you will have to play your weakness card. So play them and use them cleverly, or it will be really hard for your team to win, and that won't be cool. On the other side, there's quite the same thing for evil. It's the event cards. So there will be 20 of it. When Skarov starts to play, he doesn't got any card in his hand. every turn he will draw one card, or maybe more if he use one, which allow him to take more, or using trap. There's some trap tiles which will allow him to take two cards in once, for example. So every time he draw even cards, it's getting him closer from his ultimate goal, which is to escape his lair before being captured by the Liberty Patrol and his members. So when Skarov have managed to get his 20 even card in his hand, he could leave his base whenever he wants. He could stay a few turns more in his base in order to finish the job and try to kill a few heroes more with his minion, or he can escape and say to the heroes, "Haha, losers, I'm going away," with a evil laugher. It's quite the same than the power cards of the heroes, because if he use one and dismiss it, it will be used for the special powers that's on it. So for example here, if he discard this event card, sorry, I was searching for my words. If you discard this event card, instead of using regular combat dices when you combat, when the minion he chooses to put on it will combat, he will use special bonus dices, so it will make much more damage. Or if he put it on the right of the card he wants, for example here he wants to boost his android for the turn, he put the card on the right, so it will be added to the stats of the android during all the turn, and for the android and all the robots it will boost all of them, not just one. That's it for the event card, I think. I made the turn. You will also have lots of other tokens, like door ones. I will use those for my demo. You will also have +1 or -1, etc. token in order to mark the bonuses you will have or not, etc. etc. Initiative cards is done. Sorry, I'm checking I didn't forget. I have forget something. You will also have 9 in the basic box, but you can get more. 9 double-sided tiles. Mine are only one-sided, with traps, objectives, and etc. They will be just a little bit bigger than the one I have here, but it can give you a good idea of the size they're gonna make once you have it. I think I've already saw somewhere on the Quickstarter comments or on forum where I go, that someone asked if we can use bigger miniatures than the one we will have in the box. So just in order to show you, I've taken a bigger one that I got, which is a Crossmaster Arena character, and I could put it on a free space, no problem, it fits on it. So I think you will be able to use bigger hero figure or any bigger miniatures that you want to use in order to boost and customize your Guardians Chronicle game. So with 9 double-sided tiles, it will allow you to replay a lot the game, and it will never be the same, because the rooms are gonna change. In order to boost the difficulty, you can get the minimum is 4 rooms for the base, but you can go up to 9. It's 4, 6 or 9 with a different number of trap, objective, and etc., which will increase the difficulty. There's also the rookie and veteran set. I haven't got the card for it, but in fact it would be power cards, but for the heroes. That means, for example, Sergeant Freedom rookie set, It's when Sergeant Freedom was a young superhero, so he don't control well his power. He was powerless than now, so it will be harder for him in order to clean up the base. And on the opposite, the veteran set will be power card with more power, because that's 20 or 40 years he's saving the world, so now he knows his job, he boosts his capacity and etc. So it's really powerful. Those kind of things will also help you to customize a lot your game with your friend, and to change every game you will do in something different. So the number of heroes will help it too. For Skarov, it's the minion you will have to choose, because for every game you can put some droids. There's 3 kinds of them. You put as many as you want, you mix them because they have different statistics, or you use only one type of droid, it's up to you. But every time you have to choose up to 3, it's the max, 3 lieutenants, which are minions which are stronger, like Iron Turtle, the Kinoishi sisters, etc. and etc. You choose up to 3, and it's the max you can get. But all your minions wouldn't always be activated, because like I said, you activate as many minions as the hero you're fighting. So here on my example, I've got 5 initiative cards, but every turn I will be able to use only 4, because I'm fighting 4 heroes. So if you want to play the game at more than 4 heroes, for example, I add an extra 5 hero, so we will be 6 around the table playing. The only thing you have to do is to get the good amount of minions and put 1 more initiative card on your deck. So like that you could activate up to 5 minions by turn. I think I've made the turn of the content of the box approximately. Maybe I've forgotten 1 or 2 little things, but I don't think it really matters. So now we will get in the core game. I will show you how it starts, the different actions and etc. In order to show you what the game will be, and I think it's got really a great and big potential of fun and replayability, and I will show you what just right now. So now let's see how the game works when you start to play. So first of all, the players have to decide who's gonna play Skarov, and which hero the others are gonna be. Of course, because I'm alone, I will be doing the heroes and the bad guy. So in order to start, it's Skarov which is gonna build his base, his secret lair. So I'm cheating a little, because logically with 4 heroes you've got to make a bigger map than this one, but it will be more convenient for me to only use 4 tiles. So here you get the control room of Skarov, where he will stand during all the game. Next to it you got the objective tile, which is nuclear missiles. Heroes will have to avoid it, and of course Skarov will have to launch them and blow the city, the capital of the country. Here it's a trap tile. It's a laser one. I will explain how it works later. And here it's the entrance room for the heroes. So first of all, Skarov chooses the tiles he wants to put. Like I said earlier, with 9 double-sided tiles, there's a lot of possibilities that Skarov can make. I'm using this one because it's a basic one. Once Skarov does that, he will have to put the door tokens There's no special restriction for the door placement, except of course the obvious. If you put a door here, when you open it, she will hit the missile, so it's not very relevant. In fact, it just have to the door are used in order to join two rooms, and they have to join two free space from different areas. For example, here it works because there's a free space here and another one here, so they are connected together. It works, it's cool. I will put another one here and the last one here. The only restriction that you have when you set the doors, it's the fact that all the room had to be reachable. For example, I'm Skarov. I said I don't want the hero to come to see me, so I won't put a door to my control room. It's impossible. She had to be connected to the rest of the base in order that the hero can come and kick Skarov ass. Of course, for Skarov, the aim is to make the longer path possible for the hero to come up to him, and he will put a lot of traps and etc. Between the entrance of the hero and his position, because he don't want to be stopped by them, so it's better to temporize and get them as far away as possible. So in this configuration, the hero which starts there will have to pass through the laser room, then disable the missile, and then try to get Skarov. So he got a little time in front of him. Then you can see there are some sort of portal on the tile. I'm searching for the exact term, sorry. So there. I haven't put the name, so sorry, but it's the backup or the reinforcement spot, something like that. I don't remember exactly, sorry. And he will have to put first of all we put Skarov on his control room, knowing the fact that the 9 square here represent the base. So Skarov is had to be put on the middle of this square every time he starts the game here. That's it. But the base will be represented by those four ones, because it's a four base that I've made. Those one are not used because I'm not on a 9 square base. So here this part represents the control room where Skarov stands. So this square here is representing the missile room, because it's on the left, up like that. This one, it's the laser room, and it's this square. And finally the entrance room, it's this one. So Skarov will be able to move between those four square, those four little emplacement zone during the game. Once you put Skarov, then you use the 3 kind of droids you get at disposal. I only got 2. The androids right here, so it's the male robot. I will represent them with those white characters, and the genoids, which are the female robots. They are better in a long range attack, while the androids are better on a melee attack at corps à corps. And there's a third one, Arak Robot, I don't remember exactly, which are doing another type of damage, but because I don't got the design, I won't use them. But of course you can mix as many kind of robots as you want, or you can use only one. It's up to you, like I said earlier. So all the portal will have to be with a robot on it. So I will mix the two kind that I've got. Those are gonna represent, they are clone zombies, and they are gonna represent the genoids. Don't ask me why it's like that. Up, up. You see, I'm putting up. I'm mixing them. Tac, tac. Voila. It's almost equilibrated between the two kinds, but of course you will have, if you want to, you can use the three kinds of robots you will get. I don't get them, so I use only two, and it's only for the example. Then when that is done, you have to, like I said, choose up to 3 lieutenants, so the better minion, like the Kinoishi Sister, Iron Turtle, Nuke, Volt, etc. All the bad guys that you can get, and to put them in the game. So I got the Iron Turtle card, but I won't use it. I will only use the Kinoishi Sister for this one. So this little red miniature will represent Kinoishi Ki. This one will be, the orange one will be Kinoishi Chi, and the last one will be Kinoishi Noi. Of course, they will all, when we will get them, they will all have a different posture and etc. in order that we can know which sister it is just with the look. It will be more complicated here because I'm using the same, but it's only for example, and they won't be very useful. So you have to put your 3 lieutenants somewhere in the base. There's 2 restrictions: no lieutenant in the control room of Skarov, and no lieutenant in the entrance room. That's the only 2 restrictions you have when you put your lieutenant. Of course, I've got 2 rooms left, so I won't have a lot of possibilities, but I'm gonna use them like that, and up. They're set up. So as you can see, Skarov has finished. There's a lot of elements in the base, and it's ready to begin. Skarov got the ID card he needs. I will remove Iron Turtle. He keeps the other one up like that, and it's ready to begin. So then, of course, the heroes came in action. So we will have Adam Spell, the magician. It's an hero quest figure. You will have Sergeant Freedom. I used a little fat geek with glasses, because geeks are cool and Sergeant Freedom is cool too. Supernova. I've used a little bimbo character. And to finish, Golden Boy, which is the tank of the group, and got a slightly bigger figure. So the heroes are put on the game. They are all taking all their set of power cards, and of course the weakness cards they got. So like I said, from 8 to 10, I don't got enough, but you get the principle. So they keep it in hand, and they choose, they chat together, and they choose which character, in which order they're gonna play. So for example, we decide that Sergeant Freedom will be the first to play, so his card will be face down, put on the... So here you can see the name, but in fact in the game you won't. You will see the back of the card, so Skarov don't know who is gonna play first, and etc. in the same order of idea. At every turn, at every beginning of turn, when you choose which card you're gonna use, which power card you're gonna use, and how, you can put them like that. So Skarov don't know what you're gonna do, but you will have to talk anywhere with your partner in order to let them know, for example, that you will boost all the team or just you and why, and etc. So it's gonna be strategic and complicated because Skarov, like I've said, knows everything. He has his eyes and ears everywhere, so he knows everything. Well, so the characters are ready, they got their cards, etc. And the game is ready to begin. But now I'm gonna show you the different kind of action and etc. you're able to do, starting with the movement action. So there's many different things on the moving action. First of all, I will explain what an area is. So the area, I hope you will see, I will get aware all the things that are here. The area are delimited, not sure, by the white lines and the walls. So for example, this is an area. Up in the area you can see there is spots which are free emplacements where you can put your characters. So this is an area. Right here we got another area. This is an area, just that it's an area. This too, it's an area. Here it's the starting area for the heroes, etc., etc. That's how area works. When you spend one of your action, I repeat that the heroes always got 3 actions they can make in their turn. For the minion it's a little different because it depends on their ID card and the number that is marked next to the triangle. For example, Kinoishi Chi can do 4 actions in her turn, or more if Skarov give her a special power or something like that. But anyway, let's come back to the moving action. Like I've said briefly earlier, on Adam's spell, the first stat is the speed, 2. That means that on the max, if he use a full moving action, he can move up to 2 adjacent area from his position. For the example, let's say that this door is open, but in fact when you start the game all the doors are closed and the hero will first have to unlock them in order to pass to the next room, knowing that when a door is open, she remains open for the rest of the game. You don't have to reopen them every time. The minions don't care about the door, they open and shut down automatically when they pass, so it's not a problem for them. So Adam's spell, with his 2 max speed, will use his first action in order to move. First moving action, 1 area, this one, then the second one, he can came up to this area, and after you put him anywhere you want on the free spot that left on the area. For example, here or here or here or here. It doesn't cost anything more for you. So from here, with 1 moving action, Adam's spell gets up here. It only costs him 1 action. So you get 2 more action if he wants to. But there's some restriction, or it would be too easy and you can go to a Skarov in a snap of finger. So if there's an enemy in the first adjacent area you get, so we have seen Adam's spell on the max with 1 action can come up here, but now there's an enemy in the first adjacent area of Adam's spell. So he used his action for moving, but he's forced to stop here, and his action, his moving action is finished. So he only remains 2 actions. He can either use his second action for fight the minion, here the Genoid, or use it his second action in order to move. So it will cost him another full moving action just in order to get to the next area. He won't be able to use the max he can do, so that is to say 2, because he's on a minion area. There's already an enemy on it. So before we see when there's nobody, he could go here for 1 moving action. Now if he wants to go to the same spot, just with this, he will have to use 2 full moving action to get there. First one, forced to stop. His first moving action is finished. Then he had to use a second moving action if he wants to leave this area with this minion and go to the next one. After, there's no minion here. There are some here, but it's not a problem because he can go up to two areas adjacent at max. So with his last moving action, he could come up here if he want and put his character everywhere he wants, which is free. So that's it for the moving action. There's also one last how can I say that, restriction. Let's suppose Golden Boy was playing before Adam's spell. There's a minion here. Adam's spell wouldn't be able to go to this area because there's no free spot. In this area you see there's 2 free spots where you can put your character. If all the free spots are taken like that, Adam's spell can't go there because there's no room for him. So he had to go for example here or there, or not playing this turn because he can't go where he wants, for example. That's it for the moving moving actions. No, other thing. Sorry, got a little memory trouble. For example, at the end of my action or of my turn, Adam's spell come here. The minions play and one of them come up here. If Adam's spell wants to attack it, he will use a full action in order to move to another free spot and coming for a melee attack to the minion. It costs a full action moving thing in order just to move in the same area to another free spot. So if I am here and I want to go there, it will cost me 1 moving action just to do that. I hope I haven't confused you on the moving action. A little something. I will talk about the special power of Supernova. So Supernova, as you can see, she can fly. So it helps her to avoid the the moving restriction. What I mean by that is that Supernova could move up to 3 adjacent areas with 1 moving action. And what's cool with her, it's the fact that the minion doesn't stop her. Like you've seen before, Adam's spell has been forced to stop here, but Supernova, she doesn't stop, so she can go up there because she got 3 areas, 1 area, 2 area, 3 area, and stop there for 1 moving action. It's not a problem that there's a lot of minions. Since there is a free spot in the area, she can go there. So she come here with 1 action, then the next one she could do 1 area, 2 area, 3 area, and come up here. Of course, I'm assuming that the doors are open, but they are closed, so she will first have to unlock them if she wants to go to the next room. But that was just in order to show you the cool power she got, because she don't have a moving restriction. I think it's cool for the moving thing. We've seen everything about it. So we will pass to the attack. There's two different types of attack. Like I've said before, when you want to make an attack, you will have to use this statistic, which is the attack point, which is represented by a fist. So for example, Sergeant Freedom got 3 for an attack. We will use him because he's a much better fighter than Adam Spell, which is a loser for fight. So I will use my Sergeant Freedom for the demonstration. You can attack, do a melee attack when you are adjacent, you're on a free spot adjacent to an enemy. It's not an obligation that you are on the same area in order to attack. For example, here, those two ones are connected by the diagonal. So Sergeant Freedom can attack the Kinoishi Noi. I'm gonna take her ID card there. And Sergeant Freedom can attack her if he wants to. If he's here, no problem. Melee attack. It's next to her. If the sister, the Kinoishi Noi, is here and the Sergeant Freedom here, he can't attack her because there's a wall between them, and you don't fight someone through a wall. It made no sense. So that's the only restriction when you fight. You've got to be able to touch your opponent. When you start an attack, it will cost you 1 of your 3 actions. So for example, Sergeant Freedom with his 3 dices will start an attack against the Kinoishi Noi sister, which got 6 points of defense. So 3 dices, we use the standard dices that I present you earlier. Because I got only 1, I will throw it 3 times, but of course you will have enough dices when you get the game to throw all of them together. He made a 2. He made another 2, it's 4. It's 5. The Kinoishi Noi got 6, so for the moment it's missed. But the permanent power of Sergeant Freedom allow him to throw a bonus dice every time he attack. So I take the hero dice, throw it, it make 1. It's a 6. Yeah, I hit the Kinoishi Noi, so I put on her up a little damage token. Like I've said, the health will determine for the villains. They don't take wound cards. In fact, when they take as many damage token as their health, they are dead. So here, Kinoishi Noi got 3 in health. If she takes 2 more damage token, she will die. It was the first action of Sergeant Freedom. If he used his 2 remaining action in order to fight her, and every time his dices gives him more than 6, she will die at this turn, because Sergeant Freedom is kick-ass and he can well, he make a lot of damage. So Kinoishi Noi could be dead if he succeed 2 more times in the same turn or in different turn, and then 3, it means goodbye Kinoishi Noi. We loved you, but you're dead. The other type of fight action you can use, it's a long distance fight. It's not a normal attack. You will have to use a special power in order to do it. For example, Supernova can use a plasma blast power with the power under. It allows her to throw a distance attack, and all the characters, allies or enemies in the area of the target, they took a damage. So how does the long target attack works? There's only one restriction. In fact, you've got to be able to see in a straight line direction your opponent. So I will take Supernova and her power, which allow her to do that kind of attack. For example, there's an enemy in front of her here. She can attack him because we can draw an imaginary line that join the two characters. If she was here and the Kinoishi here, we draw the line, there's a wall between them, so she can't use it. But right here, like that or that, she could use her action and attack the Kinoishi Noise Sister. Other thing, if the door is open like that, we assume the door had been opened before, she could use it, long distance attack, no problem, it goes through the door if she's open. If the door is still closed, she can't use her long distance attack because she can reach this area. And her power, let's assume that Adam's spell is here. If she uses her Plasma Blast, she will hit the Kinoishi Noise Sister because she can see him, but she will also get Adam's spell, which is in the same area. It's the counterpart of the power, so it will have to be used wisely in order not to harm your friends, of course. But if there's more enemies, they will be eaten too. For example, like if up all those, they take damage too. So here it is for the attack action. You get, so like I said, to roll the dice and compare to the defense stats of your opponent. I will come on the hero when they are attacked. So for example, we will use Adam's spell because he's not really strong in defense. He only got 3 and he got 3 of health. So when he's been hit 3 times, if you remember, we remove the token he got on him, and instead he took a wound. He had a wound card to his deck, like right here. So next, on his next turn, he will be forced to play the wound card like a regular power card on one side or on the other of his ID card, and that will it will depend on which malus he wants to take. For example, if he put it like that, he will lose 2 defense points, so he will only get 1 left. So during the turn he will be very easy to touch, and he will probably die, or at least be wounded more. Or he can use the area text, so the area text of the wound card. And here, for example, that means when he's been attacked, his opponent will throw 1 more dice when he attacks him. So as you can see, wounds are really a big pain in the asses for heroes. So he continues to play. Every time he play 1 or 2 power cards after they are discarded. If he used all his power card he got in his hand, he got to draw them back all together, and so of course there are still the wound card he took before, so he will have to play it first, and with another card or not, it's his choice, but he will have to play it. And he had also take back his weakness card. So as you can see, once you get a wound card, it starts to become hard to survive and not being handicapped in the game. If later in the game he had played some card, is wounded again, he will take another wound card. So in his next turn, he will have to be forced to play it on one side or the other. Then after he discards it. But when he will draw back all his power card deck, there will be 2 wound cards now in it. So that means that the first turn he's gonna play, he had to put the wound card. With another one or not, it's still the same. So he discards the wound card that he played, and the other one, let's assume he have done this and this, so up he discards the 2. And because he still got his second wound card in his hand, at his next turn he will have to put the wound card and another one or not. He's forced to play it. So up, another wound card, so other malus for him. So as you can see, when you're wounded, it's really very hard. And if let's assume that he take a third wound card, so he still got one or two power cards. So he take a new wound card. He had to play it with another one or not, and discard it. When he finished to play all his power cards, they're all here. So now he draw back all his cards, and if you have followed me, he will have 3 wound cards in his game. 3 wound cards in his game, and he only got 3 of health right there. So that means that Adam's spell will hit you, but now you're dead. Skarov win. 1 point for Skarov, which is gonna add a little newspaper article which will say that Adam's spell died. Up. Exit Adam's spell. So as you can see, wound cards are very hard to deal with when you start. So when you start to get some of them. So if you think that the heroes are really tough guy, as you can see, it comes it's quite equilibrated with the villains, because they can come to die quickly when they start to be wounded, especially a character like Adam's spell, which is not very strong in defense, but of course it's one of the interesting elements of the game, that is to say the team play. For example, Golden Boy, which is stronger in defense and attack, will have to protect his weaker companion, like weaker friend, like Adam's spell, for example. That's that's an interesting thing on the game, the cooperative side for the heroes. Of course, Skarov is not a cooperative man; he's alone, and he have to achieve all his great plans for conquer the world. We have seen the combat. I think I've made the turn of it, and all characters dies on each side. So if you want now, we're gonna see the sorry, I'm just checking the right English name, the score test. Score test, we will use the 8 faces dice, like I said earlier, and it will be useful for opening the doors, for example, deactivating lasers, deactivating the missile, the nuclear missile, etc. They will have many use, and every time you will have to do a score test, you will use those dice. I only got 1, but there will be more of it, of course. 4 of it, if I don't say mistakes. So for example, we will take that good old Adam's spell, we just die, but we revive him, and he will try to open a door. It's not set on my door token, but in the final game you will have on the tiles and on the door token the number of dice you've got to throw for a score test, in function of the objective you're trying to do. So for the doors you will have to throw 3 dice like that. If you want to disable the nuclear missile, you will have to throw 4 dice like that. So let's try to open the door, this door, with Adam's spell. Like I've said earlier, what will interest us for the score test on the ID card, it's the mental point with the little ampoule, and Adam's spell got 4 next to it. That means that in order to success to open the door, I will have to throw 3 times this dice. When the game will be full, you will have to throw 3 dice like that in just one throw, and the total score will have to be under 4, not under or equal, but really under 4. If I do 4, it's a miss. If I do 3, it's good. 2 is good, 1 is good, 0 is good. So I'm spending one of my action in order to try to open the door. Let's remember that every beginning of turn, the hero gets 3 different actions they can use. So let's assume Adam's spell is starting his turn and he wants to open that door. So he used his first action in order to try it. I will roll the dice. 1, 2, so it's 3. If I don't throw a 0, it's a miss. A 0. Oh, so lucky. I'm not cheating. It's really a 0. That means the door is open and will remain open during all the turn. Let's assume that instead of the 0 on my last throw, I made a 1 or a 2. So just a 1, it's making that I made 4 on the total of my dice throw. 4, like you can see, it's equal to the mental stats of Adam's spell. It means it's a miss. So I will use a little less 1 token that I will put next to the door and to Adam's spell. It means that if I try back now using my second action to open the door, I will only have to throw 2 test dice instead of 3. So I throw the first one, I make a 2. I throw the second one. Let's assume I made another 2. It makes 4. I missed again. No! I'm so unlucky. Shit. Sorry for that. So I could put a second less 1 marker token next to the door. Which means if I use my third and last action of the tour in order to open that door, I just have to roll 1 dice. And of course I will succeed because the most value face is 2 and he got 4. So of course I roll the dice and it's sure it will be good. So the door is now unlocked. Well done, Adam's spell. You've used all your action just for that. Loser. So it's like that it works. But let's suppose first action I miss. So that's the less 1 token. But for the second action, I decide to fight the minion which is here. I fight him, I throw my dices, etc. Do what it means, do what it have to do. But with the poor fight skills of Adam's spell, I don't think I will hurt him a lot. But anyway, just for the example. So first action, he tried to open the door, missed. So less 1 marker. Token on next to the door. Second action, he attacked. If on his third action he wants to try again to open the door, up, the token is removed. It only works if he is doing the same action repeatedly or in the same row, and or other way. They are removed and you have to start back with 3 test dice to throw. Other example, his first action, he used it to move there. Second action, he tried to open the door, so do the test. The test missed. Up, we put the less 1 token. So he only have to roll 2 test dice in order to try it. He missed again. So he have done all his action for his turn, for this turn. End of the turn, all the other player do what they got to do. Next turn, Adam Spell he really wants to open that door. So he will try it again. On his first action of his new turn, the token remains because it's still doing the same action again and again. So they stay here. Let's assume it's not Adam Spell but another character which got a less mental, like Golden Boy, which only got 2 on his mental stats, which is not a lot and very hard to take, to do with a lot of throw. He got very unlucky. So finally, he got 3 tokens, 3 less 1 token next to the door. That means that he don't have to throw any more dice the next time he try, and just have to spend 1 action in order to unlock the door. And it will be unlocked without throwing dice. Here it's how the test dice are working. I will show you the same thing, but with nuclear missile, which is one of the objectives. So in order to avoid the explosion of the nuclear missile, the hero will have to go on this spot or this one. It could be possible that 2 heroes are trying to stop the missile together. No problem for that. And they will have to throw 4 dice every time they want to disable 1 missile. Knowing the fact, in order to achieve this objective, they will have to succeed 4 times to their test throw, because there's 4 missiles, so 1 each time. For example, first action, we won't take Golden Boy because he's not good at that. Adam Spell, first action, made less than 4. So 1 missile is disabled. Second action, it's the same, he's been very lucky. He disabled a second missile. Third action, still the same, he's doing under 4. Third missile is deactivated. Then it's Sergeant Freedom turn, because he's in front of one of the computers which will allow him to hack the missile. He can also try to stop the last missile remaining. Of course, like for the doors, we can pile up the less one token as many times as we lose. Knowing the fact, if for a missile, for example, the first try Adam Spell done missed, so he got 3 less 1 token. He will just have to roll 1 dice next time in order to disable his first missile. So he do his action. Oh, it works, of course it works. And on his second action, he wants to disable a second missile. All the tokens are removed. Even if it's the same action, it's a different objective. So it starts from the beginning and throw 4 dice again for the test of the second missile. And it goes on like that, even if you don't do another action between. I'm not sure if I've been clear, but it's the principle. Same thing, he missed, he got 3 moins 1 token, so it means he only have to roll 1 dice. Sergeant Freedom coming after want to disable 1 of the missile. He won't benefit the bonuses that Adam Spell got because he's starting, so he also have to throw 4 dice, and maybe later if he missed, he will have some token too, and will have less dice to throw. So as you can see, it's better to use the character with big mental stats in order to achieve those kind of objectives. Or if they don't got big mental stats, don't hesitate to use their power card in order to add for them a bonus in these stats. So that's how it functions how it works, sorry, for the test dices, the score test, sorry. So as you can see, it's not really easy to be able to succeed all the achievement, especially if you get a character like Golden Boy with a little mental but big muscles. So it's better to use Golden Boy in order to protect his friend when they are trying to stop the missile, for example, because Skarov had all the interest in the world to attack them, because while they are trying to stop the missile, so they use different action for do it, they can't attack or they will lose the potential bonuses they get it. For example, it's 2 action Adam spell is trying, the next one he will only have to throw 2 dice instead of 4, so it's better for him to try again instead of fighting an opponent. But during this time Skarov will fight him, and Adam spell is defenseless. I don't know if I'm clear, but I hope you get the point. So here it is for the test dice, the score test and the test dice. Sorry, I'm a little confused. So we have seen the moving action, the scoring test, the attack. Of course, another action you can do with your action point is to use one of your special power. When you use the special power, it's the area text, and as you can see, some of them get it's marked action. If it's so, that means in order to enable the power, you have to spend 1 action. For example, here for 1 action, so it's Adam's spell turn. He was there. He moved here with his first action. On his second action, he can use the power of the card that he have put right here, which means that he's gonna use the power and not the bonus stats. And he used 1 action, his second action, after having moved, in order to heal Golden Boy, which have been which take a damage token before. So for 1 action, Adam spell can remove 1 damage token from one of his friends. There's another possibility with this action card and power. If he remove 1 card of his deck, the name of the card is Varsha Hills. I'm not sure I'm traducing because the card is in French, so sorry if it's not that, but you get the principle. On his, for example, 10 action deck, on his 10 power card deck, he will have to remove 1 of the cards of the game. He wouldn't be able to use it again, and that will allow him to get away 1 wound card. Like I've said earlier, wound cards are really bad, really bad. So Golden Boy had been wounded. It seems surprising, but it could happen. He had been wounded, and so Adam spell with removing the Varsha garrison from the game, he couldn't use it again during the whole game. It will allow him to remove the wound card from Golden Boy, so Golden Boy isn't wounded and could last longer during the game. That's an example of the power and action you can get. Normally we have seen every action that are possible for a character. If I don't say moving, it's throwing an attack. Yep, we have seen the power cards. We have seen a lot for the moment. I will try to to finish what remains. Yes, I won't forget that. let's assume that the heroes made a real good job, so they managed to reach up to the control room of Skarov. When they are here, it's like a normal a normal opponent. That means you can move up in the area next to Skarov, and then you have to fight him. And if you manage to make him lose, to hit him 6 times because he got 6 of health, you will have defeated him. That's how it works. But like I said earlier, if before Skarov managed to get all his even cards in his hands, or having using there's no more even cards that he can draw, he can leave his base anytime he wants. So for example, Adam Spare, after many fights and other things, managed to go up to the control room. Skarov will say, "Goodbye, hero, I got all my cards so I can leave," and you didn't get me, and he will continue his evil plans somewhere else. So it's very interesting. It's a fun fact for Skarov to be able to do that. And like I've said, once he got all his 11 cards, if he wants, he could still remain in his control room for a few turns in order to put more pressure on the hero, like activating, for example, the countdown for the missile, etc., etc. Speaking of Skarov and his evil plan, let's see how it works at the end of the turn of a game turn. He will have to activate a room. So for example, he moved there. That means that the countdown will go down 1 turn left. So that means in 3 turns the missile will blow. So the heroes get to hurry in order to avoid that. The only restriction Skarov got is that he can't remain on the same square. That means he can't say, I will make blow those missiles, so during 4 turns I will stay on it and the countdown will go down up to 0. No, he got to move to another one. Every time he got to change the square he activate, the room he activate. So for example here, I've said if he goes on the missile square, the countdown goes 1 down. If he goes on the laser, all the characters present, except the enemies which don't care at all for the lasers, if he activates it, it means that all the heroes present in the room, I will put a second one, like here there's Golden Boy here and Adam Spare, will take 3 dice, 3 regular dice throw, and if it wants them, they have to put a damage token on it. But also, for example, Adam Spell is in the line of lasers. There's this laser which is shooting on him, and this one. So more the 3 standard dice, because he's in the laser room which has been activated by Skarov. They will have 2 extra dice, 1 for each laser which aim him. So he will take a lot of damage during this turn. So when you go on a trap room like this, you have to be very careful on where you put your character, because if he was here, no laser are aiming him, so he won't take as many damage as it's in here. So that's it for the laser room and how it works. When Skarov went back to his control room in order to activate it, he can choose a room where there is a reinforcement position free, and he could add for example androids or genoids, etc. on it. So it helped him to summon more of his robots and help to destroy the heroes. And I think that's it for the tiles I'm showing you and how they work. So how Skarov made when he activate. So now I will do a brief reminder of how game turn worked. So first of all, simultaneously Professor Skarov and the heroes are choosing which character will play first, the order of the characters. So for Skarov, he will have to choose 4 of his minions and choose which one will play first, second, third, and fourth, etc. And the heroes have to do the same, if it's possible, by speaking between each other. And they also will put the power cards they want to use, like this, for example. If Adam Spell wants to play 2 of his cards, he puts them like that. So when it's done, we show which hero starts. So here, Sergeant Freedom. He plays his turn, spending his 3 actions by moving, attacking, trying to avoid an objective, etc. Then Skarov shows the first minion he wants to play. He made the number of action his minion can do. For example, for Kinoishichi, it's 4 action because she got 4 action available right here. Then the second hero here, Adam Spell, will do his turn, do his 3 action, moving, attacking, etc. Skarov do the same with his second minion, for example Genoids. So if there's a lot of Genoids on the board, for example, I put some of them, he could do the number of action available for Genoids, that is to say 2, but with each of them. So for example, he can move this one, etc, etc. So in fact, when he activates Genoids or Android or every kind of robot he got, he will play all the robots on the board. It's not an obligation, but it would be stupid to let some of them doing nothing. But you can, if you think, for example, this one wouldn't be useful, you're not forced to play it if you don't want to, or you're not forced to use all the action available if you just need one on the 2 they can make, for example, etc, etc. So we continue like that. When both heroes and minions been all activated, Skarov will just a little check for the order that I don't say mistake. Yes, it's that. So then Skarov move on the tile you want to activate. We do the consequences. So for example, if he activate the laser room, all the hero present will take the damage. He will throw the dice which are needed for Adam's Spell and for Golden Boy, which are in the room. Then once this is finished, it's the discarding phase only for heroes, which means that they put away the power cards they have been using during the turn. So they have been up, they were used like that, we saw the design. So at the end of the turn, they all discard them and pile them, and when they don't have any more cards in their hand, they draw back all their power cards. For Skarov, the card has been playing, the event card has been playing, when they were here, they are discarded when the minion is activated. The next turn they are activated, in fact. So for example, he had put this on Kinoishiki. Next time he will activate Kinoishiki, this bonus will go to the discard pile of event card of Skarov. And then once the discarding phase is finished for the hero, we start back. The heroes and Skarov on each side are deciding who's gonna play first, etc, etc, which minion he activates, and then it rolls on again until the end of the game, which could be if Skarov managed to kill all the heroes, if the heroes manage to stop Skarov, etc. And then when the game is finished, we compare the number of articles in favor of each side, and we see who win and who got the more articles in his favor. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoy it in spite of my bad accent, and that it gives you the envy to join us on the project, and why not back a few bucks on it in order to get very cool stuff. For the moment, the higher stretch goal is $100K, but I know that if we reach it, there's also more surprise to come for the backer, so don't hesitate to back in. And what's funny, it's the fact that I started this video this morning. I made several shots, small parts of it, and between the time I shoot the last part that I'm actually doing, Yellow had put online a full version printable of the game with colors and etc, and almost final design, which is really much better than mine. So in fact my video is useless, because you can now print it at home, play it at home, and see how cool the game is. But me, I only do this before, and it's lame. So doesn't matter. The principle is that with the print and play PDF they release, you will all see how fun and cool the game is, and I'm sure it will help to make blow up all the stretches, and we will get a lot of super cool rewards, a lot of new heroes, material, etc, etc. So it's very cool, and I'm very glad, and even if my video is useless, I'm very glad to have of having done it, because that was cool to do, and it shows how much I support the game, because I'm not English at all. I think you have understood it with my accent, and so I thank you if you have watched this video, and I hope I will see you soon on the backer comment section of the project, and I will also put in the description of my video a link with Trick Track in the name. It's a French forum, a French website. It's the reference for all board games, and I know they have done a very cool video of a prototype of the game in action, so you can see how fun it is in action, even if you don't understand French, and it will help you to have a better sight of the game than just with my my paper version, my black and white version, paper version. So now that the video is finished, I just have to wish you a good day or a good night, depending on the hour watching this video, and I say see you next time in another video. Goodbye.